Welcome back to the recap of completing my very first full-length Ironman. This is part 2, which is the bike. People who are good at biking, please help. How? I'm just gonna say this. I didn't pass a single person on the bike course. I quite literally got passed by probably 1,000 people easily. What I think is hard about this is cycling is just not my skill set. I don't know why I'm so bad at it, but just being fast and being comfortable and able to hold that uncomfortable position for a really long time. Because I knew that cycling was not my strong suit, that's what I spent the majority of my training on. Spent hours on the bike, on my trainer, outside. I actually bought a whole new bike for this race because my road bike doesn't allow TT bars, which are the 2 little handles that come off the front that help you be a little more comfortable and get an aero position. But hold, guys. The bike course was out about 15 miles from the city, 2 40-mile loops, and then 15 miles back into the city. So pretty much I was seeing the loops for the first time. I had biked the 15-mile portion with my brother when I first got here just to make sure that I knew what to expect when I was beginning the race. The first loop was amazing because everything was so new. The second loop is where I started to kind of have my biggest mental blocks. If anything, by the second loop, I was just a little bit uncomfortable. None of my food was tasting good anymore. What's interesting is using aero bars alleviates your lower back pain, but not your neck and shoulder pain. So I was like, I'm gonna try to turn sideways and explain this to you. Like this, all of your neck is holding your whole head up. Looking like this for hours. The other thing is that it was so windy. On the way out to the loop at the top of the course, you pretty much biked straight into the wind, and all of the elevation was in the top, in the first corner. So you had max elevation and max wind in your face. But you kind of got gassed on the first half of the bike. And then you kind of, you came back to life on the second half. But by the time I was finishing the second loop, I was just so burnt that it was hard to kind of bring myself back. It wasn't until I finished the bike that I was like, woo, just a marathon left. I can do this. But during it, I could not get myself out of the pickle. Okay, now, the negative stuff is out of the way. Let's talk about the good things. It's the farthest I've ever biked. That's pretty good. That's amazing. 2, the weather held out. It was super cloudy, and then it got sunny for a little bit, and then it got really cloudy again. The aid stations were a little spread out, but I somehow aced that it was about an hour and a half in between my aid stations, and I went pee twice. I think a lot of people talk about peeing on their bike, which I was like, I don't want to do that. I feel like when people talk about Ironmans, they make it seem really I will do anything. I will do anything to make it out. Yeah, I just stopped at the bathroom and waited in line and went to the bathroom. When I got hungry, there were moments that I was like, I don't feel like eating while I bike. I literally pulled over and ate my snack. But I think that's probably why I got passed by so many people. Turns out, people who do the Copenhagen Ironman, phenomenal cyclists. So, yes, it was hard, but there wasn't a moment that I wasn't enjoying myself. I was sore, but I wasn't God, I wish I didn't do, there was no part of me that was angry. I was just this is really uncomfortable, and I'm excited to be horizontal again. Or vertical again. I will say, actually, there is one thing that did go wrong on the bike, and it happened at the very end. I fell over at the transition of my clip-ins. In front of everybody. So, that is a moment I will never live down. I can do a 112-mile bike, but I still can't learn clip-ins. So, next spot is the marathon.